We're in a really good time in the marketplace where there's a lot of good progress being made with AI. So let me talk about specifically how you can automate the study build process. The study build process in eClinical tech has a lot of human variability. Let me explain. We have human variability in how we take requirements. We have requirements and we go back and forth with the customer to flush that out. We have variability in how we design and configure our systems. We have variability in how we test and how we do user acceptance testing and how we support. The human variability is because some people have done the job, have the expertise and do things well, others who are learning and coming up. And the way the industry has consistently managed to democratize the human variability is first through training, through oversight, and then through governance. So it is a people-based process to really look at each of the functional areas and say, how do we bring the right people? If we can't, then how do we train them and make them experienced and efficient? How do we then provide them the right processes to follow? And then how do we then provide the oversight? And then how do we govern how that work is being done? With the advent of AI, things are getting really exciting to see how we can bring automation to make the human variability much less. So let me explain. As you start to look at the eClinical study build process, it first starts with requirements. The requirements process first starts with reading the protocol and then asking a series of questions with the customer to clarify what needs to be done from a study and a supply and a randomization perspective. It is back and forth, and the experts know exactly what the right questions to ask based on the protocol, the therapeutic area, the type of supply strategy. For others, they follow templates and checklists to make sure that you're asking all the right questions. But there's a lot of gaps between good requirements and bad requirements. So to make this thing work in a much more efficient manner, AI can be used to read the documents like the protocol, extract the information, use the digital form of that to make sure that you can query and quiz the customers in a digital way and create not alone just a Word requirements document, but also a digital requirements document. So now you're starting to build digitization all the way from the start. Now let's expand on this. Previously, people would read now the requirements document and set up the study within the application and the platform. Again, human variability. Sometimes there may be errors which may be typographical or other types of errors introduced in the process. Now again, using AI and automation, people can read the digital requirements document and start to set up and configure the system so that you are not making mistakes as you're starting to transcribe and translate things which are in unstructured Word documents to structured studies build platforms like us. As you start to do much more further and look at coding and coding related activities, again, human variability comes in because the expert coder knows exactly what to code and how they are going about coding, while the junior coder doesn't know all the dependencies and therefore creates either suboptimal code or to make sure that they are creating errors in the code. With AI, you can bring in code checking to make sure that coding standards are enforced. With AI, you can bring in automated code generation based on sample prompts and contextual libraries to create the code. Therefore, you're getting to a better place from a coding and code creation perspective. As we start to then say that we built and configured the platform, we have coded the right type of details from a study standpoint, how do we test this? Testing has a whole bunch of human variability. There is human variability in the type of test scenarios you create. There's human variability in the type of test data you create. And finally, how do you then manually or in an automated manner do the testing? AI now plays a very big part in reducing this human variability. Study test scenarios can automatically be created based on the requirements documents through the use of AI. We could use AI to build test data so that test data is auto-generated for the right use cases. And finally, you can take many of the components of the digital requirements and the digital configuration to actually create test automation, which can allow you to do better regression testing and improve the quality of your work. Now, as we've built the study together, now it's ready for our customers to do UAT testing. Again, there, human variability is there from a customer's ability, experience, but also bandwidth to do that. UAT testing can also be similarly automated by looking at the requirements document and creating the right test scenarios, the edge cases on what needs to be tested from a UAT functionality standpoint, and finally, components of the UAT testing to be automated. All through the process, we are trying to remove errors and human variability with AI acting as a teammate to support the effort of the individuals to do better work at high quality. Now, as the study is going live, we look at automation of the support process. The support process is dependent around who is receiving the support call, how they're going to be able to resolve the problem for the customers expeditiously. Again, AI can help in really triaging the tickets on where it should be going, and based on the tickets, it can tell what kind of solutions have been offered to the customers before and solving it in a proactive manner. So the key part of it is that as you start to look at study build in an eClinical setup, there are several areas and activities which have always been done by humans with oversight and governance. Right now, none of that changes, but you can make sure that AI is a good compendium and a good companion and a good teammate in that process to make better quality, better speed of build, and making sure that you're doing it in an agile manner.